let's dive into the first 5 units in module number 1, which is connect your on-premise network to Azure with a VPN gateway. It says here, suppose you're the network architect at the regional healthcare. The organization has migrated much of its infrastructure to Azure. You would like to connect your data center and larger regional facilities to Azure. You need secure connectivity so that the patient health information is protected while it's crossing the internet. You don't currently have the bandwidth requirements for a dedicated circuit, and you're looking for a way to integrate this network in a cost-effective way. The virtual private network, the VPN, gateway options in Azure can help your company meet these connectivity requirements. You'll see how this is done by creating and testing VPN to securely connect sites to Azure. So this is what we're going to learn here, creating VPN from on-premise to cloud virtual network. As we can see here, this is the on-premise, that's the network, these are the subnets, and this is the tunnel that you're going to create. This is the VPN gateway that is sitting on Azure. This is the virtual network. It's sitting on an East Coast warehouse, Microsoft Azure warehouse, and this is the subnet for it. So this is the topology. This is the what's going to happen basically. So if we go down into the actual exercise, as you can see here, we'll activate this, and that's the pretty thing about Microsoft Azure study guide. Number 1, it's free. And number 2, it's accessible to everyone. And number 3, it gives you access to try it out. So the number 1 thing here, it talks about the it gives you an access to something called the sandbox. It's an actual resource in Microsoft Azure. They activate it for that time being, so you can practice and exercise. And once this is done, they go ahead and remove all the resources. Okay, so now let's get going. It is activating now. We should see it in a second. So as it says here, your company is ready to deploy this two-site VPN. This VPN will allow your on-premise servers to connect to resources in Azure. You can start to securely share data from each of your sites, and you can use resources hosted in Azure across your organization. Okay, perfect. So again, this is headquarters. This is what we've been seeing in the past. Let's just refresh this real quick. And again, the network here going to VPN tunnel, VPN gateway on Azure, and communicating back and forth. So the first thing that we're going to do to connect the VPN tunnel, the site-to-site VPN. Okay, it's perfect. We're almost ready. Is that we are going to copy this link. This is the line command, Azure Cloud Shell command to create the Azure Virtual Network. To be able to add resources to Microsoft Azure, you need a subscription. Once you have a subscription, then according to this subscription, you add a credit card, you add a payment method, and according to this subscription, you go back and add resources to the subscription. So what Sandbox does for you is basically it creates a temporary subscription, and it automatically adds what's needed to be added in order for you to finish this exercise. So going back, it already created the subscription, which is the Sandbox, and it has this resource group. So going back to reading, you're creating a virtual network in Azure. Under this resource group, you're going to name the virtual network Azure VNet1 or Azure-VNet-1. The address prefix is 10.0.0.0/16. Subnet name, you're going to call it services so you can recall it easy in the future. Subnet prefix, the IP range is going to be /24. So same network /24, 10.0.0.0/24. So going back, copy, when you paste it, as you can see here, ready to go. So now that it's done, then that means that this virtual network is created. And I'll show you something nice here. So we'll put this tab. I logged into the portal.azure.com. Okay, this is how the Azure portal looks from the web. As you can see here, that's my login, Microsoft Learn Sandbox. It's already activated. I'm not paying for anything. It's just temporarily activated because we're doing this exercise now. If you go to the home page and all resources, this is where you're going to see I didn't come here yet, right? I didn't create anything myself. However, you can see that virtual network that we just created. You can see it here. Okay? So we're done with the first command. Now it tells you run this command in the Cloud Shell to add a gateway subnet to this virtual network that you just created. This line says Azure Network VNet virtual network subnet this time create. So this first time it was virtual network create. This time it's subnet create. Resource group, same resource group, virtual network. We already named it, so we're gonna just recall it. And address prefix this time is 10.0.255.0 and it's /27. And then we're gonna name it the gateway subnet. So if we copy it and paste it in the Cloud Shell, so complete it. Usually when it's successfully completed, it gives you this JSON reply in a JSON format. So if we go back, go to all resources and refresh, and then we go back to the virtual network, and then if we go to the subnet, you're going to see the gateway subnet that we just added. Okay, and obviously this is a services subnet that we named it here, so you can see both. Now the last command that we want to do is run this command to create an LNG headquarter network, local network gateway. So this is going to be the local gateway that we're going to communicate with. We copy, we paste it, okay. So it says, even explains it a little bit more. It tells you this gateway represents the on-premise network that you're connecting to, the IP address specified at the remote gateway, which is the simulated to on-premise network. You'll need to be updated later because it doesn't exist in your scenario. Okay, done. Create the simulated on-premise network and supporting resources. So you go back, you just need to create it. You say this is the name, and then you give it the prefix, IP range, and the subnet. So done. Can't find my assistant. Hey, come here. Okay. So this is done. Obviously, you can go back and refresh it, and there you go. So we're done with this part. You want to do a gateway subnet for the headquarter. So this way you're talking about the headquarter network, you're talking about the virtual network in Azure, and to be able to communicate these two, they basically need an outside key. And this outside key, this is what will be responsible for the VPN communication. All right, so we're done with this. We did the gateway subnet for the headquarter, and we gave it this IP, the 16, so we're done with this part. Now run this command in Cloud Shell to create the Azure Virtual Network local gateway. This gateway describes the Azure network that you're connecting to. You'll update the IP address specified as the remote gateway, which is in Azure. That's going to be later. So once this is done, we want to verify the topology. Okay, good. We didn't pause it. So when we come back here in the Azure Cloud Shell and we say Azure Network Virtual Network list, AZ Network VNet list, and then -- output table, it pretty much gives you what you already have. So it says this is the Azure network, this is the headquarter network, as you see it here. Okay, so successfully done. If you do the same thing here and copy this, this will tell you the local gateway list. So it's pretty much going to give you the 2 local gateways that we've added. Now, this diagram showing what we've done so far. If you go next, now to the good stuff, you're now ready to complete site-to-site VPN gateway by creating the public IP address, virtual network gateway, and connection. Remember that you use placeholders for the IP address reference when you created your local network gateway. So on one of your tasks now is to update these gateways with the actual public IP address assigned to your virtual network. So that subnet is an internal private IP, right? Or a private network. So you want to assign to this, you want to assign it a public IP address. Again, the key to inside needs to be accessible to the outside world. So that private IP address, you want to connect it to a public IP address so it can communicate with the outside resources, which is the VPN gateway in this matter. So creating Azure side VPN gateway. First, you'll create the VPN gateway for the Azure end of the connection. It can take 45 minutes, okay, to create virtual network gateway. To save time, you'll use the CLI command no wait. Nice. So it does not wait. Nice. This parameter lets you create both virtual network gateways simultaneously to minimize the overall time requirement to create these resources. Run this command in Cloud Shell to create this network or this gateway public IP address. So when you run this command, you do this, obviously it's creating the public IP address. Okay, so it created that and it gave it this name, right? And then run this command to create the virtual network gateway. You copy and paste. So take play some music here.